Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Arkham Knight Scarecrow. It has been a long time coming. They released the Gold Label paint variant at the McFarlane toy store a couple months ago, and that figure was really cool, but this is the one I really wanted. He finally shipped from the McFarlane toy store. They're in stock there right now. They're also in stock at Amazon.com. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane Toys, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse Scarecrow. Here he is in the package. No traditional accessories, but he does have a display stand and a collector's card. One side of the package, Scarecrow from Arkham Knight. Other side, Scarecrow. At the bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode. In case it helps anybody, you can see package a little bit beat up back there. And in the back, here's Scarecrow from the game. So with no further ado, let's open them up. And of course, I did get two of these figures, one of which to open and enjoy, and the other one to keep unopened in my complete Batman-related unopened action figure collection. And here he is, next to the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Gold Label paint variant, the Amber version of Scarecrow. And I did get all three of the newest Arkham figures from the McFarlane Toy Store. I took advantage of the bundle discount and the 10% off code. I got two sets of these guys for $111. That includes shipping and taxes. It's a good $15 or $20 cheaper than retail would be. Not too bad. Alright, now that we have this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He comes with a display stand and a collector's card. No traditional accessories. Before we take a look at those, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Scarecrow from the Arkham Knight. One could argue that he's the main villain of the game. One could also argue that Arkham Knight is the main villain. The figure here, he's very dark. He almost looks black. I feel like it's not fully accurate to the game. I googled pictures to remind myself, looked at the collector's card, see a lot more brown than I'm seeing on this figure. In some ways, the Amber variant is more game accurate than this guy. They both look really good, really nice, but quite different. So let's take a look at him. Start with his head here. Looks really cool, just really dark. The hood is pretty much black. Face is really dark gray. He's got sort of breathing apparatus here. The stressed stitching between his mouth. The eyes, they're kind of glowing yellow. It looks really cool. Just doesn't quite seem accurate, just so dark. Orange and all these different tubes and vials. Tubes coming from these canisters going up to the side. He's got the long needles on his fingers to inject the fear toxin into people. You can see more cartridges here, more tubes. Looks like a double jointed elbow. He's got the little noose around his neck, and it's a separate piece. You can move it around. More canisters on back, more tubes. This guy has a ton of fear toxin. You can see on his jacket, a little bit of texturing here, even some stitching going on. Looks like he's got double jointed knee on this one. This one here looks to be a single jointed knee. He's got that sort of leg brace or whatnot. The detailing is very nice on this figure. I just sort of question the accuracy of the color scheme here. Looks good, looks scary, looks a little off for the game though. And just a closer look at his face and head sculpt. A little dark inside the hood there, but you can see a lot of the details. The breathing apparatus, the stitching, the glowing eyes. Looks good, creepy, kind of scary. Sculpting on the hood is nice, a lot of stitching going on there. Not so good as accessories. Would have been nice if it came with an actual accessory, but I don't actually have any good suggestions what he should have come with. So let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. Typical McFarlane stand that we've seen a million times. Perfect circle. Says DC on the bottom. One peg for the peg holes on his feet. Very thin. Very basic. Now let's look at his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of the Scarecrow from Arkham Knight. Notice, I see a lot of brown on him. Makes me question the accuracy of the figure. Also Googled some pictures. Don't really think the color scheme is right on this figure. Backside there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. Here's his collector's card. Next to the one that came with the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Gold Label Amber version. They're 100% the same. They could have at least given us something different, like a silver border or something. I like to be able to differentiate which figure the cards came with. and I wanted to check them out next to the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Gold Label paint variant Amber version of Scarecrow. I was curious if there were any differences on the figure besides the obvious paint differences, and there are not. They are 100% the same figure, as expected. These are both really good looking figures. Brown version, the sort of darker black version, but neither one really seems fully accurate to the game. I feel like if you could sort of meet in the middle, you'd have what you'd need. But they're both very nice, very sharp looking, kind of scary looking, both really nice versions of Scarecrow. Pretty much anything on this figure that's black would have been brown on this guy. The face is considerably different. The eyes look really cool on both of them. The orange on all the vials and tubes, pretty similar. But anything black on this guy is going to be brown on this guy. You can see even the skin tone is different. Sort of an orange, amber color. He's gray. Figures both look very nice, but it seems odd. Neither one is exactly correct for the game. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, or lack of, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head and hood, standing at about 7.25 inches tall, which can translate to about 18.5 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, you're going to rotate from side to side, look up and down, just a little bit. Not going to be too useful there. Can't really tilt his head from side to side. It's that extra piece of the hood. Yeah, you can actually move it that way, but it's just going to snap back into place. There's a noose, a separate piece. You can move it any way you want. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He does not have that typical butterfly joint. Usually it's just there to cover up the large gap, but it's covered up pretty nicely with this sort of shoulder pad thing. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows. And his wrist here, it can rotate, and it doesn't really feel like it's hinged. It definitely is, though. I can see the hinge in there. There we go. In his torso here, all this sort of soft goods overlay. It probably has articulation under there, but it's effectively going to be useless. Going to have a ball joint at his waist, though. Rotate around. Notice those little sort of tubes. They're getting stretched to capacity, forward and back. So you're not going to get too much out of that. Legs, complete as a splits. Not a ball joint, but a similar type concept. Rotation is non-existent. Legs go forward about that much. Back not too much. Double jointed knees on his right leg. On his left leg, just single jointed. Keep this leg brace intact. Then his ankle here. Forward and back. Rotation, tilt, rock, and he has toe articulation. So I went ahead and heated up some water, dipped Scarecrow in it, pulled his head off, and removed this little noose. It's almost like a separate accessory here. It's kind of cool. In addition to that, it did sort of free up his head with a larger range of motion. Now we can go forward, back, kind of use that ball joint all around. Went ahead and put everything back together. I noticed his head still has increased range of motion there. Just seemed like maybe some hot water freed it up a little bit. Here's Scarecrow in the Ace Chemicals building. He's got a couple of his fear toxin henchmen next to him. And just a closer look at Scarecrow with his henchmen. He's got tubs and canisters of gas behind him. And here, with a couple of more traditional Arkham Knight militia, they're the red and green camo. They work for the Arkham Knight, who in turn work for Scarecrow himself. Here's a scene similar to the end of the game. We have Scarecrow, Oracle, Commissioner Gordon, and Batman. They're on the rooftop. Scarecrow's about to make his point. Scarecrow forces Batman to unmask. He proceeds to inject Batman with the fear toxin over and over again. But it is not enough to take down the Batman. Now let's check him out. Next to some of their action figures. Starting off with some of their Arkham Knight Scarecrow figures. Here he is, next to the DC Direct Arkham Knight Scarecrow. A little bit of a different design. You can see the canisters on the chest. Totally different. I wonder if Scarecrow had numerous looks in the game. Sometime in the near future I'll replay that game and check that out in great detail. Notice the color scheme. A lot of brown on the DC Direct version. Just reiterates this new darker one is game inaccurate. And here he is, next to the McFarlane DC Multiverse, McFarlane Toy Store exclusive, Gold Label, paint variant, Amber version of Scarecrow. Here are all three versions of the Arkham Knight Scarecrow that I have. They're all a little bit different. I feel like if you were to take the two McFarlane versions, sort of meet in the middle, you'd have something comparable to the DC Direct version. Just kind of interesting. I guess DC Direct is the closest to the source material, at least paint-wise. They're all really cool figures. Here's this McFarlane Arkham Knight Scarecrow next to a DC Direct Arkham Asylum Scarecrow. He had a different look, and McFarlane would make an awesome Arkham Asylum Scarecrow. Now let's check him out. Next to some other Arkham Knight McFarlane figures. Here he is, next to the Arkham Knight Batman. Then, here he is, next to the actual Arkham Knight himself. And here he is, next to the Arkham Knight Red Hood. Here's McFarlane's entire Arkham Knight collection. We have a total of 4 different characters, 3 of which have variants, and I sure hope they're not done giving us Arkham Knight figures. Here are all 4 of the regular versions of the different characters McFarlane has made for the Arkham Knight collection. Then, those same characters by DC Direct. Now let's check them out, next to some other Scarecrow figures. Here's the Arkham Knight Scarecrow, next to McFarlane's Last Night on Earth Scarecrow. That was our first Scarecrow release. Very odd choice, just a torso. And here he is, next to the Infinite Frontier Scarecrow. Here are all 4 of the Scarecrow figures McFarlane has made so far. One thing they all have in common, they all have the needles on their fingers to inject with fear toxin. All 4 of these Scarecrow figures, and we don't really have a regular or normal one. Arkham Knight is the closest to that we have so far. I hope for a lanky, tall Scarecrow, more traditional looking. McFarlane would do an excellent version of that. I did see some rumors of a Scarecrow figure from Injustice 2, but that might have been a mistake for the Arkham Knight Scarecrow. And here he is, next to all of my DC Direct Scarecrow figures. Then, next to the Mayfix Scarecrow, and here he is, next to my Mattel Scarecrow figures. Then, next to an older Kenner Legend of the Dark Knight Scarecrow. Here are all of my different Scarecrow action figures. Got quite a bit, missing at least one DC Direct version. Now let's check them out with some other Scarecrow henchmen, thugs, or army builders. Here he is, next to a couple of Arkham Knight characters, sort of scare, toxin, fear henchmen. Then, next to a couple of older Toy Biz, Spider-Man, Jack-o'-lantern figures. These are way smaller scaled, but I had these way back before there were any other options for a Scarecrow henchman. Later, Toy Biz made some larger Jack-o'-lantern figures. These are the old Toy Biz Marvel Legends, made for some great Scarecrow henchmen, and still do. Then, Hasbro did their own version of Jack-o'-lantern in the Marvel Legends line. Just had to get 3 of those also. Later, McFarlane started a Fortnite line. One of the first figures I made was the Skull Trooper. I thought he would make an excellent Scarecrow henchman, so I got 4 of them. Then McFarlane made another version of the Skull Trooper. This was a Walgreens exclusive. This is the Green Glove Skull Trooper. Figured I just had to keep getting 4 of them. Later, Jazzware started making Fortnite figures. They were 6-inch scale, but I collected 6 and 7-inch stuff. Figured I'm already so deep in with these Skull Troopers, might as well keep going. So I got 4 of Jazzware's Purple Skull Troopers. Then they made a regular version, much more desirable than the purple version. Got 4 of these as well. At this point, I'm thinking, please don't release any more Skull Troopers. I will get 4 of them. I don't need any more. Please stop. And they did just that. They released the inverted Skull Trooper. Maybe it was unnecessary, but I'd gotten this far. Got these 4. I bet Hasbro's going to release a Skull Trooper in their line, and you know what that means. Now let's check them out. Next to some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here are all the McFarlane Scarecrow figures I've made so far. And here he is, next to the newest wave of McFarlane video game figures. We have the Arkham Knight Red Hooded Scarecrow, and the Arkham City Sick Joker. These guys came together in a bundle from the McFarlane toy store. Here's Scarecrow, next to all the different Arkham Asylum figures McFarlane made. I hope they give us an Arkham Asylum Scarecrow. Then, next to all the McFarlane Arkham City figures. The next batch of Arkham City figures we're going to get is going to be a Walmart exclusive, Gold Label, sort of black and white version of the collect-to-build Solomon Grundy wave. Hope they give us some more Arkham City characters. Here's Scarecrow, next to the only figure they made from Arkham Origins. This is Deathstroke. He looked pretty much exactly the same in Arkham Knight though. Then, all the different Arkham Knight figures McFarlane made. Now the Arkham games are not the only DC video games McFarlane has made figures from. Here's Scarecrow, next to figures from Gotham Knights. That game actually came out today and I've been playing it. Maybe not quite as good as I hoped, but enjoyable, and I've only begun to scratch the surface of the game. Gotham Knights is in a completely different universe. It's a total reboot unrelated to the Arkham franchise. And here he is, next to McFarlane's Mortal Kombat 11 DC figures. We have the Batman Who Laughs and Joker. Then, next to McFarlane's Injustice 2 collection. Now let's check him out. Next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the Amazon exclusive Tim Drake Robin. And here he is, next to the Amazon exclusive Batman Family 5-pack. Then, next to the Speed Metal Wave, collective build The Darkest Night. And now, next to the third wave of Page Punchers. This was a Flash-themed wave. We have the Atom, Flash, Gorilla Grodd, Heatwave, and Captain Cold. Here's Scarecrow, next to the second wave of Page Punchers. These are based off Injustice 2, Batman and Green Arrow. And here he is, with the first wave of Page Punchers. This is a Black Adam-themed wave. Batman, Superman, Constantine, and Black Adam. Here he is, with the two most recent Mega figures, at least before Gorilla Grodd. These are Necron and Bane. Then, next to McFarlane Toy Store exclusive, Hush Superman, and Rebirth Kid Flash. And now, next to some recent Target exclusive Gold Label figures, we've got the Justice League Endless Winter Wonder Woman, Kyle Rayner Green Lantern from Changing the Guard, Black Adam movie, Black Adam with Throne, and the Defiance Deathstroke. Here's Scarecrow, next to another couple of Target exclusive figures, Ocean Master and Batman from Batman the Animated Series, 30th Anniversary Edition. And here he is, next to some recent Gold Label Walmart exclusive figures, Speed Metal Dark Flash, Rebirth Shazam, Azrael Batman Armor, and Parallax Hal Jordan. Then, next to the Court of Owl's Talon and the Rebirth Deathstroke. And now, with the Booster Gold and Blue Beetle 2-pack, here's Scarecrow, next to the Speeding Bullets Batman and the Dark Knight's Metal Batrocidus. And here he is, next to the New 52 Static, the Future State Superman, and the Infinite Frontier Scarecrow. And finally, next to the Black Adam movie wave. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want notes lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and work my smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, next to some more McFarlane Toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, with some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here he is, standing next to some NECA figures. Then, with some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here he is, with some Mafex figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, it's a nice Scarecrow figure, but I'm definitely bothered with the color scheme. Seems way too dark to be game accurate. As weird as it is, seems like the paint variant, the amber one, is actually more game accurate than this one. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments below. What do you guys think? It's still a very nice Scarecrow figure. Really dark, really creepy looking. Sculpt and paint job are excellent. The color scheme's not really my choice, but they definitely achieve what they're going for. Nothing sloppy on this guy. His accessories are non-existent. His articulation is pretty much everything you would expect from a McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. I like how they handle his leg brace. Pretty cool, unique, and clever. If I were to rate this figure, probably going to give him a 7 out of 10. Kind of teetering toward a 6.5, just because the paint scheme bothers me a bit. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.